Japan just killed its startup culture for foreigners. Yep, it's true. And today I want to talk about this topic. So all of you Silicon boys out there with your killer app idea, or all you pleb devs out there with your cool AI, something SaaS wrapped in AI, whatever, you're trying to get some investment money, you're trying to do your thing, you're trying to do your hustle, you're trying to do you're trying to be a Silicon boy. It's no more. It's done. It's over in Japan. Sorry. Japan just updated well, I think it's updated. I don't know. Everyone's talking about it, so I might as well give you my 2 yen. They have updated their manager visa from 5 million yen requirement to 30 million yen requirement. It's like what, 35k USD to 200k USD. I have no idea, but that's a big jump. Okay, we're not going to talk about why they did it. It's probably something to do with Chinese property investors. Okay, look, it doesn't matter why they did it. We're just going to talk about what happens now. How does this affect all the soy devs out there, all the Silicon boys out there, people with killer app ideas? How does this affect us as foreigners in Japan, and how it also keeps out great devs or great entrepreneurs? It keeps great entrepreneurs out of Japan. This does that. I don't know if it's intended to do that. We're not going to talk about that, but I want to tell you what this means now for the foreign, let's say, startup tech space. The reason this manager's visa was quite important for people that I've talked to. Look, I've been making crappy tech YouTube videos about Japan for the past 3 years, and I've talked to quite a few people in and out of Japan, and both people in and out of Japan have been targeting this manager's visa. And the reason is that if you're outside of Japan, all you need is before was 5 million yen, 35k or so, invested into your own company, just set up shop. There's a lot of ways around opening an office. You don't have to hire someone. There's all these little tricks you can do to get into Japan and try and get yourself into the tech scene in Tokyo. Maybe you have a great idea. Maybe you're employed in a company and they say, we'll give you a contract and you just slide yourself in Tokyo. We try and get the ball rolling and make connections, try to make some tech connections between your country and Japan. That was one side that I heard of the types of people in a tech space trying to get this manager visa, or who obtained this manager visa. And the other side was foreign engineers in Japan, or foreign tech workers in Japan, who maybe they don't have the highly skilled visa, so they can't get their permanent residency in 5 years. They can't just suddenly start a company. They'll lose their current visa status, or they have to do the whole 10 years to get the permanent residency. Then they can actually start their own company. And of course, the last one is the wife visa. But most people, I cannot recommend you just to get a wife visa just to start your startup. That's not a good idea. So I'm hearing it from both sides of people in Japan and out of Japan that was it's still a lot of money. 5 million yen is still a lot of money for tech workers in Japan, or just for the world in general. That's a lot of money, but it was still something you can do. It wasn't a crazy idea. Just save up 2 years or so and start your own company with a business manager visa. But now with this change, I think it does the effect it has now on the tech scene for foreigners. Everyone in my community is a foreign tech worker, and some of them have great ideas, or they want to try something. That was a great option, but now since they've made it a 30 million yen requirement to get that manager's visa, there's no one's making that money unless you work at like some crazy company making like that every year, or it's just no one has that money. Let's be honest, no one has the money. So what this visa change really does, it hurts the little guy, the little man. We're all little guys. We're all the small guys. I know you're a big man. You might be the big man, but most of us are not. And I think anyone who had an idea like last year, I'm going to try and do the manager visa, I've got this cool killer app idea. No, stop it. And even if I had 200k saved up, why would I tie that up to try and start something risky in Tokyo? Just risk everything. It's a lot of money. Or if you're from another country, not from a Western country, finding that kind of money is a lot more difficult. Why would you tie that up just to risk it all in Japan? It just doesn't seem like unless you're like a middle-sized company or you're a well-funded company already, it doesn't seem like a viable option. So that's why I say, like, I think it kind of kills that whole idea of bootstrapping by yourself and going out, 6 months of bootstrapping, trying to find one or two clients and, validating your product. Then the next 6 months trying to go out and finding someone to invest for the next 1 to 3 years for your kind of seed round, pre or post seed, whatever seed round you need. It just makes that whole experience more difficult. I've never tried to get investments for anything, but I just know people who have. So now for people already in Japan, foreign tech workers already in Japan, I guess the only option for you is to, if you don't have a permanent residency or a spouse visa, you have just a general working visa, and you're many years away from applying from a permanent residency. And even if you apply, it's going to take a year and a half. So for most of us here, you'd just have to find, if you want to start your own company, you'd have to find someone to invest in at least 200k then to start a company. And that's the only way for guys now in Japan who want to try the startup route. So you'll be spending your after work hours trying to bootstrap your idea, which is great. Of course, you should try not to spend so much money, but you're spending 8 hours a day focusing on something you're focusing on something that is not as important to you. You're not trying to build something in that 8 hours. You're just getting paid. It's just a job. The next group of people that might be able to make something interesting with their cool killer app idea because they've got some unique global understanding of how things work would be students. But I know students in my community here, they're not trying to make a killer app idea. They're just trying to find their first job. They're looking for an internship. Their shinsotsu is their first job. So they're a few years away from maybe giving a startup a crack. So the last group, I think, would be if you just come on a working holiday visa. I mean, no one can get that visa. So maybe just tourist visa. So you have an idea, you're from another country, you come on a tourist visa for 3 months and you just go non-stop trying to pitch your idea to investors, and hopefully that they can give the initial company running fees plus whatever else you need to get your startup running. That sounds tough. I don't know anyone who comes here on a 3-month tourist visa just to pitch their killer app idea. But I still think like the foreign tech scene is still relatively small compared to the Japanese tech scene. Of course, the foreign population in Japan of immigrants is like 3% or something. So I don't think it's a massive difference in who can actually try and make a startup as a foreigner. So now who benefits from this? I don't know. I guess people like me, people already in Japan benefit from this. We have less competition, or maybe Japanese tech startups have less competition coming outside of Japan, unless someone just drops a ton of money on a startup. Foreign investments just chuck a whole bunch of money on a startup, which I don't know these days you don't know. I see these startups saying like they're AI, wrapped in AI. Of course, it's not really AI. It's you know what I'm talking about. They just wrap it in some type of LLM and just also say they're going global. So those two things, wrap it in an LLM and say going global, and then you get like billions of yen of investments. Those guys have less competition. Like, sub, comment, Discord, LinkedIn. Let me know what you think. Am I overthinking it? I don't know. Let's see what happens.